Hi fans of high quality entertainment. In today's video, I am going to talk about 10 of my favorite albums from the past decade. So these 10 are the albums that I played the most, especially in the last year or two. And, thinking it over, this isn't, my top 10 albums of all time, but this is my top 10 albums that I've listened to the most in the past 10 years. And so they mean a lot to me. I thought it would also be fun to do kind of an ASMR type video again and show you the artwork and how each one is packaged. And in no particular order, the first one up is Paul McCartney, Chaos and Creation in the Backyard. And I could have chosen Ram, because I played that a heck of a lot, and Red Rose Speedway, which I really appreciate now. But I think out of all his solo albums, this is my favorite. Or at least tied with Ram. And this is the 2-disc version of it. I love that cover photo. And it came with a very nice booklet. And even the very last time I played this, which was a couple of nights ago, the opening song, Fine Line, which is a good song, but I always felt it seemed a little out of place on this album. And I didn't love the song as much as most of the other songs on this album. But the very last time I played this, it finally clicked what a great song it is. And it is, I think it's a perfect opening song for this now. So I was wrong. Once again, a band I've really listened to a lot in the last, I'd say, 3 years. And I love so many of their albums. And even the more recent ones that aren't talked about as much, like Magnification and Key Studio, I love them all. But this one, by Yes, Relayer, I've played a heck of a lot in the last 3 years. And, when this came out, I bought it on vinyl back in 1970, 75, I believe. And I liked it, but, I never was a huge fan of it. But, of course, through the years, you mature a little bit with music. And The Gates of Delirium is just incredible. This is the remixed version by Steven Wilson with additional material, Blu-ray exclusives. But side 2 with Sound Chaser and To Be Over, I think they're really overlooked. I mean, when people talk about Relayer, it's mainly about The Gates of Delirium. But I love side 2 just as much as side 1. And I think Steve Howe is one of my all-time favorite guitarists, and I think his guitar work on this particular album is my favorite. I just listened to this last night, and always gets to me emotionally. Little tears rolling down my eyes. David Bowie, Black Star. I think, and last night I was also listening to Ziggy Stardust. What an amazing album. At some point, I think I was thinking it was a bit overrated, but listening to it again last night, once again I'm wrong. And as some of you know, I became a huge David Bowie fan. I've always loved a lot of his music, but I was never, he was never one of my top 10 favorites, but now he definitely is. And I love every song on this. And the production is just excellent. That would be cool to own on vinyl, of course. Black Star. So, what is up next? The only double in the list. When this came out in 1975, I absolutely liked it. Not right away. It took me 2 or 3 listens to like it. And it is Led Zeppelin's Physical Graffiti. Favorite songs on this are 10 Years Gone, Sick Again, and what's funny is when it came out, a song like In the Light, I thought they were kind of overreaching with it. It's like they were trying to do another epic song like the Rain Song or Stairway to Heaven, and it was just an okay song, but I absolutely love it as much as any other song on this album now. So, one of my all-time favorites. Never get tired of hearing it. Just like all of these. You may have heard of this one, Abbey Road. This is the 2009 remaster, but the remix that Giles Martin did last year is superb. Never get tired of listening to this. I play this every few weeks. I mean, every few weeks I've played this for years and years and years, and it always sounds fresh. Now this is a heavy album, very heavy. You think Motorhead could be heavy, or any like Black Sabbath could be heavy? Of course they could be. But no album, I don't think, is as heavy as Velvet Underground, White Light, White Heat. I mean, Sister Ray, the energy just in that song alone, it'll blow your mind. I forgot to show you the Abbey Road packaging. And they did a very nice job with the, unlike when the Beatles first came out on CD, it was just kind of all thrown together, but the box set that came out in 2009, they did a really, really nice job on it. So, back to the Velvet Underground. I was thinking of Lou Reed because I'm a huge Lou Reed fan, and some of his albums like The Bells, Street Hassle, Berlin, they could have possibly been in this top 10 list, but they just didn't make it. I like all the fingerprints on it. But this is the double disc, 45th anniversary. And a really good remastering job on it. Never was the greatest production, but it really suits with the remastered version. It sounds great. And disc 2. So there's like on disc 1 after the original album, there's I Heard Her Call My Name, alternate take, instrumental version of Guess I'm Falling in Love, and different versions of songs. And on disc 2, live at the Gymnasium, New York City, April 30th, 1967. But Sister Ray is one of my all-time favorite songs. But that being said, I love the whole album. It's funny how certain albums, you hear them the first time and you think, oh my God, I hate that album. This was one of them. It took me a few listens to really appreciate. John Cale. Lots of scanning. And Maureen Tucker, the female drummer, her drumming on this album, especially on Sister Ray and I Heard Her Call My Name, just jaw-dropping amazing. Four albums to go. What are they? I don't know. This has been a favorite of mine ever since I was 58, 68, 11, 12 years old. I don't even remember how I got the vinyl of it, but I'd heard of the musicians in this band, and so when I first played it, I thought it was okay. But it just grew on me quickly, and it's been a favorite of mine since 1969. Blind Faith with Steve Winwood, Ginger Baker, and of course Eric Clapton. This is an older version of it. I'd really like to get a more recent remastered version. This one came out in 2001. So there's not much to the packaging here. So once again, every time I put this album on, it's like I never think, oh, I'm tired of listening to this. It always sounds fresh. Had to Cry Today, Can't Find My Way Home, Well All Right, Presence of the Lord, Sea of Joy, and Do What You Like, with one of the most insane endings from any album I've heard. Last couple of minutes are crazy, but love this album. 3 more to go. So I remember listening to this album online somewhere a few years back, and I kind of liked the first song, second song a bit, and then just lost interest in it. And then I heard it again maybe a year or two ago on Spotify, and I liked it more, and I thought, you know what, maybe I should buy this, because people say it's one of the greatest albums of all time, and give it a chance. And I did, and for me, it is one of the greatest albums of all time. Astral Weeks by Van Morrison. The only song on it that I don't absolutely love is the second song, Beside You. I think it kind of overdoes his vocals a little bit on that one. But besides that, Astral Weeks, Sweet Thing, one of my favorites. The Way Young Lovers Do, and Ballerina. Just all great, great songs. And of course, as some of you know, I became a huge fan of his. I have at least 20 of his albums or more. No pictures, just a bunch of writing. But a nice little booklet there. The final two. Now, after the Beatles, the next band that I became a huge fan of when I was young was Grand Funk Railroad. And I loved their early albums. Their live album, possibly my favorite of them. And when this album came out, Survival, I think I was kind of disappointed in it. You know, I would play it over and over and over and hoping I would love it more than I actually didn't. And I liked it. I didn't hate it, but it just never got to me like their earlier albums did. It was a bit more laid back in spots, but it is now my favorite Grand Funk Railroad studio album. And I could have chosen Grand Funk's live album for this list, but between the two, I've been playing this more in the last couple of years. And then their later albums like Phoenix and Shining On, I wasn't a big fan of. And listening to them these days, even E Pluribus Funk. But listening to all of them now, you know, remastered and everything, they're a lot better than I thought they were. The one I still have never owned and I want to get sometime is Good Singin', Good Playin', produced by Frank Zappa. Favorite songs on this are Country Road, Comfort Me, I Can Feel Him in the Morning. What a amazing vocals by Don Brewer, the drummer, a very spiritual type of song, and their killer version of the Rolling Stones' Give Me Shelter, with Mel Shocker's bass just right in your head, if you're using headphones. And finally, this would be right near the top. It might even, on some days, be my #1 album of the whole decade. It's going to surprise a lot of you. Captain Beefheart and the Magic Band, Shiny Beast, Bat Chain Puller. He'd originally made an album called Bat Chain Puller, which was never released until just in the last few years. And so he redid a lot of the songs from that album on this album and released it. And I actually prefer most of the redone versions that are on this album. But this is just such a fun album. And it's not quite as crazy as some of his other ones, like Trout Mass Replica. And I just enjoy this so much when I listen to it. So if you're ever thought of trying to get into Captain Beefheart, this is a really good starting point, because like I said, it's not too out there like his artwork. And it's a really fun album. My favorite songs are The Floppy Boot Stomp, Tropical Hot Dog Night, Harry Irene, When I See Mummy, I Feel Like a Mummy, Suction Prince. I never used to care for Candle Mambo or Love Lies, but now I love those too. And I think my favorite song, one of my all-time favorite songs actually, is You Know You're a Man. The musicianship, well, on the whole album, but especially in that song, is just superb. And there's an instrumental called Suction Prince, which is just amazing. So I highly recommend you check out Captain Beefheart and the Magic Band, Shiny Beast, Bat Chain Polar, because it's one of my all-time favorite albums. And that's it. Those are, I think, at least for today, the 10 albums that have meant the most to me in the past decade. And that doesn't mean I don't love other bands, Black Sabbath, Sparks, Blue Oyster Cult. It's just, for a top 10 list, those are the ones I could squeeze into the top 10. That's it. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Ball.